against the Warriors. Now, that's twice in the last 5 days that the Mavs have gotten the upper hand on Stephen A's pick to win the West. The Mavs are definitely on the upswing and have won 9 of their past 11 games. Meanwhile, the Celtics got a big win versus the Grizzlies last night. Jason Tatum led the team 37 points. The C's have really come on after a slow start to the season and have now won 15 of their last 18 games. They are 5th in the East. So many teams that seem like they can win a title this season. Really, it seems like anyone's game. But, Chiney, which sleeper team can you see making a deep run in these playoffs?
Well, since now I'm a West Coast girl, I'm going to look at the Western Conference, and I really love what I'm seeing from the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, you have to start with Jason Kidd and the job he's done. Defensively, especially. This is a team that has largely predicated itself on offense, and Luka, even for a time being, trying to get offense to the post with Porzingis. Well, ever since he's been gone, they've had a higher winning percentage, and they've really just done better on both ends of the floor. Luka Doncic, right now the reigning Western Conference Player of the month of February. You look at the Mavs as a contender. All right, maybe people will sleep on them, but we all know that the biggest thing Luka Doncic needs to do is win in the playoffs. He has yet to do that. It looks like he's preparing him and his team to do exactly so. So I'm looking at the Mavs, I'm like, they're interesting. They're 5th right now in defense, which is a huge jump from where they've been the last few seasons. I think he's the first player in Luka Doncic's in Dallas Mavericks history to have 3 straight 40-point games, and we know which players have been there. So I look at the West, I look at Luka, I look at the Mavs as a team that you don't want to play, especially if it comes down to the final possession, Stephen A.
I get where you're coming from, but I'm going to roll with the Boston Celtics. I want everybody to learn this name, Ime Udoka.
Nigerian, Ime Udoka, yes.
Udoka.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like Chiney.
I appreciate it. Ime Udoka. I want to get it right. Ime Udoka. He's been an assistant coach, was an assistant coach in San Antonio and various other places. Ladies and gentlemen, you got a Coach of the Year candidate on your hands. I'm not saying he's going to win it because they came on too late. But what I'm saying is this brother knows what he's doing. This is the number 3 ranked defense in the entire NBA. You watch the Boston Celtics play defense? I know we raving about Jason Tatum, who is a stud.
Yeah.
And I love the kid, and he's got a bright future, and he's a star. But he's shooting 43% from the field and like 33% from three-point range. These are not numbers that knock your socks off. He's doing his job, and he obviously gets a lot of attention, in terms of defensive opposing defenses. But bottom line is that numbers could be better and will be better as his career continues to blossom. And he's done a lot because he's played 11 more games than Jaylen Brown, and we understand that. And they made a midseason move, and you got White and these brothers that have been added to the mix, and I like the job Robert Williams is doing. I like the job a lot of these guys are doing. Al Horford has been more than serviceable for them. Marcus Smart, I love this guy. All of that's true. But if you watch teams' offenses go against the Boston Celtics defense, this is where Kyrie Irving and people like that are needed, because that's how you beat that defense. You can't beat that defense just moving the basketball, and that's it. These brothers are everywhere. They're like piranhas. They're everywhere. They're all up in you. They got tentacles everywhere. I mean, they get long. They can be long. They can be quick. They can be physical. They just keep coming. I'm looking at this defense, and I'm like, my God, they are tenacious as hell. That's coaching. That's coaching. And when I look at them right now, I say to you, well, let's look at the Eastern Conference. Look at the question marks we've got about Brooklyn. We're thinking that Milwaukee's just waiting to turn it up. We don't know. We're looking at Miami, number 1 seed, and then they get knocked off, the other night, giving up a 14-point lead in the last few minutes. We see them come back against Brooklyn without P.J. Tucker and Jimmy Butler, but KD didn't have Kyrie and Ben Simmons. I'm just looking at the East, Philadelphia. We think we see what they're doing with Harden and Embiid, but the last 2 games were against the Knicks. Not exactly the greatest litmus test. I'm just saying, when we look at the Boston Celtics and the way they defend, and then you combine that with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum seemingly getting on a better page when they're on a court together, and the pickup of White and what he brings to the table with Williams and Horford on your front line, the Boston Celtics are a team to be reckoned with. I'm going to at least say that.
And you can make a case for that same principle applying to the West.
Right.
Because without Chris Paul, and it's not like it's a 2 week or I think it's at 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8.
6 to 8 weeks, which puts you right on the front door of the playoffs. With the Warriors looking a little suspicious defensively, and you questioned where is Draymond Green, the Memphis Grizzlies have to be feeling pretty good about themselves, even though I know Ja started slow, but he finished with still like 38 on the night.
Yeah.
And I think, Memphis and Dallas has to feel like, oh, we're playing our best basketball right now. So I have a question for you, Mr. Stephen A. Smith. Not saying that they're going to meet in the NBA Finals, but if the Celtics take on the Mavs, do you think they have enough weapon power defensively to slow down a Luka?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I do. But now here's the tricky part about Luka. Luka plays at his own pace. Nobody ever dictates his pace. That is true. But the Celtics are the kind of team, not only could they potentially neutralize him, but even if he gets off, they can neutralize everybody else. That's not how Dallas is winning games. And by the way, I will remind you, because you know this, Dallas is also a team that's winning because of their defense.
Exactly.
Their defense. And so to me, it's not about Luka. It's about their defense.
Yeah.
And when I look at Udoka's squad in Boston, I can't say enough about what I'm seeing from them collectively as a defensive unit.
Their best identity is not who's going to take over Jalen or Jason. It's we're going to play defense.
They're going to shut you down. They're going to shut you down.
Happy birthday to Jason Tatum, 21 in the fourth, so impressive. And I just need
And
to
a really
say to
good
you,
kid,
because
too.
I never get to see you, can we just talk about, she does NBA Today, NBA Countdown, and you're still playing for the Sparks.
We're doing it. We're training.
Beyond
We're working.
impressive.
I know.
And
I'm very
you're playing
blessed.
with your sister.
I know,
so
right?
Shout to your parents as well.
Thank you.
If I was in the features department, I would be doing a feeture and following
Y'all
you.
are coming to a game, though, when you come to LA
I would
again.
love to come to
Okay,
a game.
Good.
Am I going
love
to be
to come
sitting
to a game.
courtside?
Depends.
Then I'm not coming.
If we
Can you
friends.
just be normal?
I'm not coming unless I'm sitting courtside.
You know
I'm not
what?
coming unless I'm sitting
I
courtside.
want my back up against the wall and the nosebleeds, and I'll be cheering and
Thank
repping
you.
the Sparks.
Be a real
my
one.
Not all of us are
listen,
high.
I got you courtside.
Listen,
All right,
I
we
can
gotta go to
change
break.
from that. I will come, but listen,
Okay.
with all of
You
y'all
will
know I
come.
better be sitting courtside.
Steph Curry, who played the entire fourth quarter, and listen to this, he did not attempt a shot for the first time in his career. He did have 5 assists. The Mavs handing the Warriors another loss. They fall to 2-7 in their last 9 games and have allowed over 114 points per game during that span. The Warriors are certainly missing Draymond Green. They are 15-14 without Dre this season, and they're a half game ahead of the Grizzlies for second in the West. And I want to talk to you, Stephen A.
Yes.
Because you've been going real hard
Oh, very hard.
for the Dubs. Real hard,
Very.
real confident that you will be spending June up there in Golden State. So tell me this. Do you still believe the Warriors are coming out of the West?
Here's how I will answer this question. I'm getting very nervous. I'm getting very nervous.
The pause has started.
But it's not because of the losses. I'm getting nervous because where the hell is Draymond Green? That's what I'm getting nervous about.
Okay.
Now, I saw him NBA All-Star Weekend. We spoke for a little bit, feeling good, coming along, et cetera, et cetera. I expect him back soon, but I don't see him yet. They ain't win no title without Draymond Green. They need him. And first of all, when he's on the court with the rest of this crew, they're one of the top two defenses in all of basketball. When he's on the court with them, offensively, they're far more efficient because he's the ultimate playmaker for Klay and Steph. And so when I look at it from that perspective, if Steph and Klay are flowing, primarily because of Draymond, it frees up Jordan Poole and Toscano Anderson and Gary Payton II. The list goes on and on. It's a ripple effect. And when he's not there, you can't do any of that. When I watched what the Dallas Mavericks, Jason Kidd, and the exceptional job he's doing coaching the team this year, did y'all see what he did to Steph Curry the other night? When Steph Curry did not attempt a shot in the fourth quarter?
Correct.
Do you know why that happened, Molly Q? Jason Kidd blitzed him from the moment he touched half court. And they said, get the ball out of his hands, come hella high water. And they did anybody else to beat them. Okay? You can't do that when Draymond's on the court. Can't do that. And so it changes everything. I'm worried because the fact that we've seen Draymond Green out this long, he is such a warrior, and I say that no pun intended. I mean, it's literal and figurative because he's a member of the Warrior, but he is a warrior, okay? Draymond ain't sitting out games like this while this team is going this way when he sees Utah rising, Dallas rising, Memphis rising, even though they lost to Boston last night. And, of course, the Suns there to expose because CP3 is out. If Draymond is out, still, that is starting to make me nervous. That's where I'm at with it, Janae.
Yeah, I think Draymond has been the most integral warrior to their offense and also to their defense. And that's what I've said the last 4 or 5 years. The Warriors have been the best at small ball, especially defensively. I mean, you've stood next to Draymond. You're close to his height. You're like 6'1", 6'2". Yeah.
Well, I can assure you that's not true. When I stood next to him, I came up to like here. I came up to like here.
But he's like 6'5", 6'6". And what he's been able to do.
More like 6'7".
Okay, well, maybe I'm wearing my heels on that day.
That
okay?
would, I mean, you make everybody look short, but go ahead.
That's why I should post you up so we can show people, okay, in my heels, I've got 4 inches today.
That too.
Yeah, so Draymond, you know, say he's 6'7", what he's been able to do offensively as a playmaker, you're absolutely correct. When they force the ball out of Steph Curry's hands, he knows how to find the next guy, and that next guy has the best shot.
Okay.
I wish there was a stat for that, right? Bam, bam. Yeah. But what really worries me is even though he's been out, I would expect them not to be 2-7, to find a way to not allow, their opponents to go off for like career nights, or just have the highest average versus the rest of the league.
Okay.
That to me is what's surprising because that's uncharacteristic even with Draymond Green being out. You still have to play team defense, and it's been difficult for them. I think when we look at the West overall, you look at a team like the Warriors without Draymond Green and playing, the prior 2 games without Klay Thompson. All right, there's a question mark. There are question marks when it comes to the Phoenix Suns, but still, they're, I think, 1-1, without Chris Paul and now Devin Booker in protocols. They're still consistent. They have an identity even when those stars are out, meaning over the course of the season, they've been top 3 in both offensive and defensive rating. So they have that, and you have to give credit. You gave credit to Ty Lue. You got to give credit to Monty Williams for what he's built and developed DeAndre Ayton to compete at a higher level. Cam Johnson having great games. To me, it's the Suns that have been consistent. They have an identity, and they remain the favorites in the West, not necessarily the Warriors. I know the Warriors were beautiful and sexy and perfect, shooting stars to start the season, but as we've seen them progress, there have been holes here, Steph shooting slump, Draymond Green being out. Like, that's why I can't keep them at number 1 in the West. And you already know the Grizz are coming. They're looking for any reason to sort of win and right the wrongs of what they experienced last year. But still, the consistency, this is a team that's 1 year removed from being in the finals. I still have the Suns.
I got to tell you something. Utah's coming. Dallas is coming. The Clippers are coming. Let's keep in mind, Kawhi may not be back, but Paul George will. And no, we're not picking the Clippers to win the championship. But could they knock somebody off? Hell yes. Hell yes. Yeah. They could pull this off. They've got experience. They've got scoring. They've got athletes. They've mixed in a few youthful players in the mix as well. And you talk about PG coming back because the brother can ball now. And so I look at it from that perspective and I say, okay, I get where you're coming from. But I'm still not going to lose faith in the Warriors because I believe that when Draymond comes back, he makes that big of a difference. I still think they need the additional body that is Wiseman to help them. Those 6 fouls, a big body on the front court, that kind of thing. But really the key is Draymond Green. And if they were losing close to anything like this with Draymond on the court, I tell you it's over. I tell you it's over. But we both know that would not have happened. They wouldn't be 2-7 in their last 9 games if Draymond was on the court with the rest of these brothers. We know that to be the case. And it's because you're a catalyst. That would be one thing if you're a guy that's just scoring 30. Okay, now that the 30 is gone, we got to find a way to make up for that. No. He's a catalyst on both ends of the floor. Offensively, he's your point forward. Defensively, he's your point guard, basically, as a defender, because he's
orchestrating.
He's orchestrating everything, and we cannot minimize the importance of that. And he holds dudes accountable. Those young players, they sit up there and they gravitate to what this man says. He matters.
But to your point on the Clippers, I think, they can make some noise, but next season, we're going to be talking about them being favorites for the championship.
Yes, I agree. There's no
Absolutely.
dispute there.
Can I say this really quickly because we're talking about John? Memphis has been fantastic. I understand maybe last night's just an off night, but can we just show Jason Tatum a little love? 29 in the fourth on his birthday.
No,
he
we
put
cannot.
on
What?
No, we cannot.
I
You
mean,
know why?
they've been the best.
Do you know why?
21 in the fourth.
Do you know why we can't do
quarter.
that?
Why?
Because we're getting to that later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry, Molly, not smooth.